Welcome to Get Serious. Today, I wanted to go over one of the takeaways from when I was building out Sage Mode, which I finally finished the first iteration. Just been unexpectedly really tied up with items the last couple of days. I got to test it more here shortly, but a number of the questions were just relating to how you interact and grow your team, and that's probably the topic I've been reflecting on most, especially over the last couple months, and even more so. It's just, I feel like, even in an AI world, like ultimately more talent is going to be needed to reach the absolute highest echelons, and ability to recruit and retain talent might be the most important skill in business. And more of the people that I'm following that are just 100 steps ahead of me or 1,000 steps ahead of me in the game, which is just always a reminder of how much more there is to grow. And so much of their mentorship and coaching is related to talent nurturing, and just general cultivation of it and culture setting. So I'm just feeling like I'm lacking a lot in that direction. So I'm just trying to accelerate my learning and growth in that area, because I'm just seeing, okay, the bigger businesses are really talent machines here. So how do I focus in and grow that accordingly, but still have an AI first mentality and only hire when absolutely necessary, in regard to not bringing on somebody that could be covered from AI workflows that I might have just been too lazy or had a deficiency to actually put together in my business. So I try to weigh that a lot more as well. And admittedly, more recently, I brought on a CTO within Land Pricer, and he brought on a more senior engineer below him, and they kind of run their own shop within the product side. And I come in and direct as needed here. But it's great to have folks who can just kind of get the concepts, and I don't need to be routinely checking in with them either. So I'm starting to grow some more talent within the businesses that I'm operating. It's just, again, I'm feeling like there's so much other growth here. And so an interesting analogy that kind of came up as I was going through these questions for Sage Mode, and then also short side story, is just I've had this household plant, this money tree, that's been with me for at least 10 years. And I just kind of want to see, like, will it stay alive if I keep it alive for the rest of my life here? It's just, we've been through a lot of moves together. So I'm just interested in kind of continuing to take care of it, and noticed that it was getting more of an ant infestation recently. And so I was just going to ChatGPT, okay, how do I get rid of this? I got to repot it and all this kind of big hassle. So went through all of that rigmarole to take care of this plant. And it kind of goes through a shock process, and then it'll reset its roots, and then get back into more of a homeostasis of kind of mostly taking care of itself, outside of got to keep it in some sunlight and water every so often. But it goes from like a high level of care to lower over time, from like when you first buy it, or if you need to do a repot, anything like that. So I was thinking, in relation to talent, it's similar to trees to a certain degree, and you have like different types of potential within certain folks. And first, if you're bringing on somebody, like, it could be a seedling. You got to put a lot of time and attention, figure out how do you onboard this person, and start to let them grow into the culture and business that you're creating. And some people, unfortunately, they might just be stuck as a seedling. They never fully grasp it, and it just doesn't work for your business, and they're never able to really grow, no matter how much attention you give them. The next level up is you might get a house plant. And again, I don't mean to be derogatory or anything like that. It's just for the sake of an analogy here. I think you can all get that. You get somebody who gets past the seedling stage, and they're able to similar to my plant next to me, doesn't need that much attention, but it's relatively limited in growth, right? They're not able to really expand their roots past a certain capacity. It's just inherent to their environment. They're going to be limited, but they're able to grow as much as they can within their area, and provide whatever value they kind of can within that very particular area. But again, can't really grow beyond that. Then you might get to a full standalone tree. You know, and I'm thinking more of like something outdoors where uh, you know first you need to really take care of them, again, like from the seedling stage and the kind of a sapling, and grow a little bit here. You got to monitor, you got to prune the branches as needed to make sure they're growing properly. But after a certain point, you really never need to take care of them, outside of maybe some crazy infestation or something. But they'll be able to pick up the moisture from various rains that might come. Even if the rains aren't that often, they're resilient to stand through various types of weather. They'll get the sunlight to keep growing as needed. They kind of self-regulate. They'll be able to get, they kind of have their own ecosystem nearby. Maybe they can have, some critters that come live in them and so forth. So they kind of start building a kind of a realm for others around them to grow, and are self-sustaining. They really don't need managers to come in and kind of take care of them quite as much. Maybe something crazy goes on and you might need a little bit of oversight here and there just to guard them against a lumberjack or something like that. To extend that analogy a little bit more, need a little bit of defense, need some help here and there. But overall, they can kind of run their own show. They'll be okay just growing on their own. And then at the last level is a future forest. So this is somebody who can grow up as a full tree, and then they are, blossoming and kind of spreading their seeds over time, and eventually kind of growing a full forest around them. Maybe they had, kind of into horticulture a little bit, the various kind of ecosystems even underneath the ground, like the different fungi trails, and just developing this whole interconnected community of life around them, creating entire habitats for various animal species, other plants, other versions of themselves through their various seeds. And then those other trees and other plants that are growing within their own ecosystem start to spread their seeds as well. And then they create an entire forest that just sustains itself and keeps growing and growing and growing, without need for any type of oversight or really any help. And even if you got some dangers that come along, maybe you got a fire here or there, or even some lumberjacks, like it's very rare the entire forest is going to be taken down. So they have some ability to defend against very kind of aggressive maneuvers or crazy weather events, for instance. And those are really the most rare type of individuals to find, but those are who you really want to grow your business to the greatest degree possible. Because if you can find future forests, all of a sudden you can just seize market share. You can land grab within it, relevant to our industry, as much ground as you can cover, and you don't need to monitor what these folks are doing, because they're growing on their own, and they're creating others who can grow on their own as well. So I thought that was maybe that didn't land with you, but to me that was a kind of really relevant and helpful metaphor for the types of folks that I'm trying to find, as I'm just like constantly thinking about talent acquisition, cultivation, and just knowing that I'm just still a total novice in that regard, and I have so much more work to do. But again, I just view it as rather exciting, because we've built up a pretty solid business with such low headcount as it is, and so we just have kind of infinite more room to grow as a company. Trying to be a future forest ourselves here in order to get to level after level after level. So hopefully this was kind of interesting to you, or at least humorous in the. Wanted to share that with you all. And if you're looking for any funding, we've had some really good results recently, both on the dispo side and now the acquisition side too. It's starting to really come alive again. So I'm excited for more. SeriousLand.capital, a zero cost review of your land deals at Land Daily Diligence Facebook group, and landpricer.ai for the most reliable land pricing tool on the market. Subscribe and share, everybody. Take care. Bye.